4 downs. As I want to talk Tennessee tailbacks, it's an interesting position because you have Jabari Small, and you would think that he's the guy that's going to come in and handle the majority of the carries, but I'm not so sure it's that simple with Dylan Sampson pushing and a Dylan Sampson having some more explosiveness. And also, Jaylen Wright was actually Tennessee's leading rusher, which might surprise you if you didn't follow the stats. So let me start with first down, and that will be who will be UT's leading rusher in attempts. And the reason I ask it like that is because Jabari Small ran for 157 times for 734 yards. Wright rushed for 875 yards on 146 attempts. So Wright didn't get as many touches like Jabari did, but he actually averaged more yards per carry. So who gets more attempts? Jabari Small, Jaylen Wright, Dylan Sampson, or a player to be named later?
I think it's still Jabari Small. Look, Jaylen Wright and Dylan Sampson are both they're going to be bigger playmakers, but the question becomes the workhorse. And you and I know this about Josh Heupel's offense. Despite its tempo, despite its emphasis on the quarterback and the skill players, there's a physicality factor that matters. So you still want a workhorse back to a certain degree. And Jabari Small is the guy that can do that. So I think Jabari Small is the only one that can be a playmaker and is also capable of getting you 20 to 25 carries a game.
Okay. I think he is going to be the leading rusher as far as attempts because I think he's the closest thing they have to a power back in short yardage. So I will say, yes, that he will be the leader in attempts. Now, who will be the leader in yardage, which was actually Jaylen Wright last year?
I still think it's going to be Jaylen Wright. I think Jaylen Wright's still – you know what, though? No, I'm taking it back. I think Dylan Sampson is going to start splitting more reps with Jaylen Wright. I think by default, Jabari Small is going to actually get the most yards this year. But I think Sampson and Wright together will average – each of them will average more yards per carry than Small, and together they'll have significantly more yards than Small. I just think that by default, Small is going to have more yards than them because for what – he's the only back who's there to do what to play that role that Josh Heupel needs him to play.
No, I like Dylan Sampson a lot. 58 carries last season. This is third down. Will he have 100 or more this season? He had 58 last year. I'm putting the over-under at 99.5. Will you take the over or the under? You're a gambling analyst.
Easily the over. Easy.
I think so too.
The biggest thing that held Sampson back last year for people who are interested is that he wasn't great in run block and pass blocking. We saw that against LSU where he allowed that fumble. The minute a running back picks that up, that's the only reason he did. That's the same reason Jamal Lewis was held out the first 4 games in 97. And that's a big part of playing running back. I think Sampson's going to pick that up this offseason.
Yes, I agree. He should be fine with that. Physically, I wonder if he has the stature to really help out in pass pro. We'll see. But I think that he's the type of electric player that we're going to see really shine out of the backfield. I'm not taking anything away from Wright or Small, but I just don't think there's that type of explosion there. Travis says 3 running backs, 100 carries is a lot. Yes, so Travis is taking the under. But I'm with Caleb here. I believe that when you look at so let's say roughly there are 350 carries to go around before we get to fourth down. So 350 carries to go around. I could see Jabari Small getting $150. I could see Jaylen Wright, who had 146 last year, getting about 100, and I could see Dylan Sampson getting about 100. That's how I would break it down if you ask me as of today.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you on that. I like to try to disagree with you for our show sometimes, but in this situation, I can't.
Be genuine. You're crushing it. Okay, so the last one, fourth down. 4 downs again brought to you by Craft Treats. Use the promo code Off the Hook, and they'll take care of your pet. Great holistic medicine, CBD choices as well. Fourth down. Will Jacob Warren, our own Jacob Warren, play the power back position at fullback, much like Princeton Fant did last year?
No, because Khalifa Keith is there.
But he's not there till the summer.
Yeah. Okay. What do you have to learn playing a power back? Hey,
it's pretty easy.
That may be the easiest thing you ever have to know.
It's pretty much A or B gap.
Yes. Hence the reason you can put, remember 2012 and put AJ Johnson in there at power back?
Oh, I almost forgot that. Yes, and Keith too is like already 230 pounds. So I think so too. I hate saying that about a freshman who's coming in the summer, Caleb, but I think he steps in there. I think that the interesting thing is going to be, you're going to hear about Sampson in the first 2 weeks. I'll go ahead and tell you what's going to happen in spring practice because I've been around a lot of these things. So assuming Sampson is healthy, you're going to hear about him a lot in the first couple of weeks because they know what they got in Small and Wright. So they're not going to push those guys. And then 2 weeks deep, you might hear about somebody else. I don't know who that somebody else is. He might be a walk-on, but they'll try to give a guy some pub because you don't have to run a bunch of the tread off the tires of Small and Wright. You know what you've got. You'll find out what you've got with Dylan Sampson about halfway through. And at that point, honestly, with what you have returning, you can take your foot off the pedal with these running backs. I mean, there's no need to run somebody out there and get them hurt. I could go back to the days of Kirsten Biggers, Michael Stewart, who went to Hawaii and actually had a pretty good career. There are a ton of tailbacks who were spring tailbacks. And I don't know who that guy's going to be, but you're going to have a spring tailback by the orange and white game that everybody's going to get excited about, but it's not going to play very much in the fall. Caleb, that's just the way football works.
Yeah, specifically with running backs. I mean, it's really hard to, again, I mean, everybody was excited about Ontario Smith back in 2000. And I believe some people,
he was for real though.
No, I know, but I believe some people thought, remember this 2000, after Travis Henry left, running back was supposed to be a weakness the year Travis Stevens was going to be the feature back. And I think a lot of people thought Ontario Smith was going to be the better back than Travis Stevens. And then Ontario Smith transfers, and Travis Stevens sets the all-time rushing record, largely because of the best offensive line ever. But
well, I'll be honest with you. I thought that Ontario Smith was going to be a superstar, and I thought that Travis Stevens was a little bit slight of frame.
Oh, I did too. I didn't think anybody thought he could handle that, like that Arkansas game where he carried it 41 times. I didn't think anybody thought he was capable of doing that.
Yeah, and then the next year you had, boy, you talk about a hornet's nest. That may have been the worst hornet's nest that Tennessee ever walked into, and that was at Arkansas. You had Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and ESPN Game Day was in Arkansas for the first time ever, and they ran all kinds of trick plays in the first half. I mean, Tennessee could have played they had to play their A-plus game that day to win because Arkansas was so ready. It's rare you have a feel before a game sitting in a press box like, oh man, you better survive.
Well, Eric Ainge wasn't starting that game either because remember when Cutcliffe called a quarterback draw to run out the clock against South Carolina and Eric Ainge got hurt.
Yeah, that of all the games that Tennessee stepped into, that Arkansas game that year felt like the biggest buzzsaw game. And I still remember it felt like you saw shots of Darren McFadden's biceps each and every play. He had incredible biceps. Those are biceps to strive for. Do you recall those when he would do the muscle thing?
I don't recall the muscle thing. I remember his biceps, though, because I remember like the way he ran and his speed and his shiftiness. I'm like, this is like if Reggie Bush, it's like Reggie Bush athleticism, but like way stronger. It's like if Reggie.
Yeah, like 20 pounds bigger.
Yeah, exactly. He was a freak in college. I mean, look, I thought he should have won the Heisman in 07 over Tim Tebow. I'm sorry. I thought Darren McFadden should have been the Heisman winner.
I wouldn't have hated that. That was before I had my vote, and I righted all the Heisman wrongs. So now that I have a vote, everybody, I think I've only missed one. But I make different picks. Like Will Anderson a couple of years ago was on my final three. He should have been in New York City. He wasn't. But
no, they only send defensive guys to New York City when a Tennessee quarterback is there.
That's right.